So as Sonia shared, my name is Sheena Brady, and I'm the founder and CEO of TST and the Founders Fund. But before I get into that, I just want to share a little bit about my upbringing. So my upbringing was a little bit complicated, to say the least. I grew up in a single-parent household with my half-sister. We moved around a lot, and we didn't have a lot of money. My upbringing was complicated, and I watched my mom struggle to just kind of get by. And at one point, I actually watched her open a home salon, only to struggle with bankruptcy a few short years later. If you looked at my upbringing and you looked at my family history, and you chose to put that into data points, technically, I probably shouldn't have ever maybe even finished high school, let alone go to college and graduate college. However, I not only graduated high school, but I became the first person in my family to go to and graduate college as well. And it's not necessarily because I'm overly ambitious or anything like that. I mean, I'd like to think I am now, but not necessarily at that time. But I was very blessed to have a family friend in my life named Louise, and I just want to give some credit to Louise. She's currently a 67-year-old woman, and she is a very strong, kind, but high expectation woman who constantly puts the needs of others first before herself to see those around her thrive. And so when I graduated from high school, I knew my reality. I probably wasn't going to go to college. I'd take a year off, save some money, and then maybe go. But Louise wasn't having any of that, because in her mind, and knowing what my family had gone through previously, that if I took a year off to work, it'd be highly unlikely that I would pursue a post-secondary education at all. So with her own family's limited money, she invested in my first year of education. And I was absolutely floored. I couldn't understand why this woman invested in me with such generosity. And when I asked her why, she simply said to the 17-year-old me, "Because why not you?" And I carried that attitude and that audacity with me throughout my career and as a young adult. And when I graduated in hospitality management, I then went on to work in some worldly cities in hospitality leadership at a very young age, followed by working at Shopify for now over 5 years in tech. So from hospitality leadership to tech, two traditionally very male-dominated spaces. And through the process of working at Shopify, through my passion, tea, and through purpose, I built a side hustle, which is called Tea's Tea. And today, Tea's Tea, I'm proud to share, is a 7-figure company that serves customers in over 30 countries. Tea's Tea is a values-first company, and with every purchase, we donate to programs that are dedicated to empowering women. In 2019, my team got a lot more intentional about what this means. And so we created the first ever Founders Fund, which was built out of my personal passion to help support the next generation of budding entrepreneurs. In 2019, we basically challenged successful established entrepreneurs and said, what are you doing to pay your success forward? Can you contribute the currency of time and help mentor women entrepreneurs? Or can you contribute the currency of money and help fund women entrepreneurs? And I'm incredibly proud to share that because we all inherently have in our DNA as entrepreneurs, I fundamentally believe this, the desire to want to help pay our success forward, we were able to help support over 200 women identifying entrepreneurs across the country gain access to mentorship and resources for their business, and ultimately fund 5 companies. Thank you. We reached 11 out of the 13 provinces and territories, and we had over 40% identify as a visible minority. But why does this even matter? So BDC released some stats last year about small businesses, and though we've heard tonight we are making incredible progress in Canada, the reality is currently only 16% of all small businesses across Canada are majority owned and led by women. So though there's been a lot of progress, there is still a lot of work to do. So for International Women's Week, I want to challenge us all on what we can do to invest in women entrepreneurs. And I'm going to break it down really simple. It doesn't have to be limited to currency. I have 3 big takeaways. The first one is demonstrating allyship. This extends to not just women entrepreneurs, but women in business. It is all of our responsibility to step up and help mentor and coach, support, and nominate women for opportunities. If you see an opportunity that you think a woman would be exceptional for, tell her and say, I think you should apply for this opportunity, or I think you should go after this opportunity because you are exceptional at X. The confidence barrier is very, very real. And you may already know this, but there's data that shows that if a job opening if a job post is opened, a man who only has 60% of the credentials will still apply and just go for it. And that's awesome. So we should all do. But women feel like they have to have 100% of all the requirements before they even apply. And I think that the irony is that even though women are less likely to apply for jobs in the same rate that men do, they're actually statistically more likely to get hired. So my second challenge for everyone, check your unconscious bias. We all do it, and it's okay. We all make mistakes. Just last week, I was invited to what I felt was a prestigious event. It was the United Nations Women's Luncheon Panel here in Ottawa. And at the end of the event, in a sea of corporate suits, I probably stood out a little bit. I wore some loud colors, and I might have been a little bit younger than some people in the room. And I introduced myself to one of the guests, and she immediately responded with, "Oh, are you an event organizer?" I think she was slightly embarrassed when I introduced myself and said, "No, I own 2 businesses, and I work in leadership at Shopify." And as I felt her slight embarrassment, I felt bad because, I know it was nothing but positive intent and it was completely harmless. And this is just a small example of the gender bias that continues to exist today. And of course, we saw that data point today about VC funding for women. It's gone up from 2.1% to about 2.8%. We still have a lot of work to do. We tend to naturally associate ourselves with people who look like us and people who think like us. And that is at the core a huge challenge with conscious bias. So I ask you to check that. And then finally, my third tip is to share your story. So if you had a positive impact in your life on a woman entrepreneur or a woman in business, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your network. Why? So that they might be inspired to step up and do the same. If you are a woman who has started a business, whether it was a huge success or a failure, or a combination of both along the way, tell the world. It is only that if we share our stories that we can continue to learn from each other and continue to improve. If you want to learn a little bit more about the work that our team is doing at the Founders Fund to help support and elevate and create more entrepreneurs across Canada, particularly women identifying entrepreneurs, we are here tonight and we welcome to have some conversations with you. But on the note of incredible women leaders and entrepreneurs, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our panel tonight. We have JC DeHoop, co-founder at The Gist, Forbes 30 Under 30, and Techstars 2019 from Toronto. Neha, partner 500 Startups, also in Toronto. Stephanie McGinty, Chief of Staff for Real Ventures, Toronto. Sandra Ng, angel investor from the Capital Angel Network here in Ottawa. Nita Tandon, founder and CEO of Dalcini Stainless, a top 25 Canadian venture owners in 2019 for CEO and 2016 Mompreneur Startup Award in Ottawa. And finally, Heather Ward, CEO and co-founder of Tandem Technical. Thank you.